Hey everyone, this is Brett Favre, Green Bay Packers Super Bowl champion. And you're watching Packers Total Access Live, your daily source for Packers content. Go Packers.
What's up, guys? Welcome to Good Morning Lambeau. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on Packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_access. Joined alongside Tim in Green Bay, here to talk some Green Bay Packers, talk some NFL draft, talk a little Senior Bowl week, talk a little East-West Shrine Bowl week. Got a lot of stuff to cover. Tim, how you doing this morning, buddy?
Doing good, man. Coffee's flowing. Let's do it.
Let's get it. Let's jump right into it. Waste no time, man. The chat is already lit up. Appreciate everybody swinging through. We got Chris in. We got CJ in. Josh Martin, Mountain Man Pack, Richard King, Boz, So Turtles, Two Tone, Prince in the house. Good to see everybody. Hopefully you're having a great morning. We're supposed to get in the 40s today, I believe, Tim. About 3 or 4 days from now, we're going to get up to 60. So, listen, we're not out of the woods yet. February will hit and it'll get cold again, but we're getting close, man. We're getting closer anyway. So
yeah, we're going to crack 40 here in Green Bay today too, hopefully. So
let's go. Let's get it. Let's see. Chris in the chat came in and said, those Krispy Kremes are so close, I can feel myself getting fatter. Obviously talking about the bet we have on the line here. And just to remind everyone, if you're new to the show, hit that like button for us. Feel free to sub to the channel. We appreciate you making us a part of your morning. The bet is – Chris N says we will not fifth-year option Quay or Devontae Wyatt, right? And I said we will fifth-year option at least one. So if they don't fifth-year option them, I owe Chris N 2 dozen Krispy Kreme donuts. And if they do fifth-year option one of those guys, then he owes me a couple. So Prince in the chat says Emilio current status Taco Bell drive-thru. Getting that breakfast burrito in. But back to what Chris N says here. Here's the timeline we got on it too, Chris. You got a little bit longer to wait before you get those donuts, man. It was April 29th, 2022 was when the Packers picked up Savage's fifth-year option. So expect a decision and answer by April 29th. That's a good kind of target date, Tim, for them to get that fifth-year option in. And how do you feel about it, man? I don't think I've even asked your opinion on this. Do you think there's a chance that they pick up one, both, or maybe just leave it alone? Because here recently, like Chris was saying, they have kind of steered away from it the last couple of years, right?
Yeah, no, it's true. I would think that if they are, I think it's going to be Quay at best. But I think there's a chance they just let it play out. We'll see.
Yeah.
I know you got donuts on the line. I know this is a serious bet, so we'll see.
Absolutely. And to defend Chris here for a second, this is a much different fifth-year option than Savage's. It's a lot more expensive, right? Because you're talking about, defensive lineman, obviously linebacker. I want to say Devontae Wyatt's is significantly higher than Quay, if I remember correctly. But nonetheless, it's about where you're drafted and this and that. And obviously Savage's, I want to say, was $8 million, I believe. If I remember correctly. You guys fact check me on that. I think it was $8 million. This is going to be well over 10. I kind of feel like if they do one, Tim, it's going to be Devontae Wyatt. And I honestly, if they pick one up, I think they'll use it to kind of bridge the gap to the next contract. Who knows? Maybe they will get a deal done and just wipe that fifth-year option off. I don't know if you can do that. I know you can do that with the franchise tag, if I understood correctly. So it kind of feels like a mini franchise tag. I imagine the rules would be very similar, that if they were to work out a deal, it just seems like most teams, what they do in that scenario is they've got a player that they go, man, we really want this dude back. We don't want him to hit the open market. So let's just go ahead and slap a fifth-year option on him. And in Darnell Savage's case, they tacked on voidable years to spread that cap hit out. Of course, Packers are in a situation they don't even need to do that because their cap's in pretty good shape right now. So anything that you want to add to that? Again, I just wanted to showcase that that's going to be April 29th should be about the date that we're looking for to get those fifth-year options in.
No, just make sure you share a donut with me if you win the bet.
You think I'm winning, right? Chris N may pull this one out. We'll see, though, man. It's another great wager. We've got several wagers on the line here. We got Jacob is on the hook to get a tattoo on the left butt cheek of Emilio, right? So we'll see if that happens. And I know we've had a couple other wagers as well. We're also going to be doing an NFL draft contest. So if you're a member of the Patreon group, okay, make sure you jump in there. You can go to patreon.com/PackerFan Total Access or just scan the QR code in the upper right. And as long as you're a member of one of those three tiers, you get access to our chats. I'm going to be creating a separate chat here pretty soon. And what we're going to do is everyone is going to put their mock draft in there that they think, hey, this is what I think the Packers will do. And whoever's mock draft is most accurate, then we're going to be giving away an autographed piece of memorabilia. Also a reminder as well, this Saturday, we're going to be doing a Senior Bowl live watch party, okay? Keep in mind, we're not going to have the game on the screen, but we're going to be watching the game. We're going to be broadcasting live while the game's going on. Everyone else can watch it on your own, your own TV, what have you, on your phone, and hang out with us while we do it. We're going to be doing a giveaway about halfway through that stream. We're going to try to go the entirety of the game. We may not make it all the way through, but it's just a way for us to kind of keep up with the prospects, give you guys prospect information as they make plays on the field, as they're being interviewed, all that good stuff. So, the giveaway is going to be an autographed Dorsey Levens jersey, a white away jersey by pristineauctions.com. Beckett's involved with that. It's got the certificate of authenticity, the sticker, everything, all that. So, as long as you're a member of one of those 3 tiers on Patreon, or you're a member here on YouTube, you can be a YouTube member as well. I want to steer everything in the direction of Patreon because you guys get a lot more value than just, hey, I'm a YouTube member. That's pretty much all there is there, along with the giveaways. But you can kind of be a part of the community in Patreon if you're there. So anyway, here's the information on the Senior Bowl, Tim. Here's your broadcast team for the 2025 Senior Bowl, airing exclusively on NFL Network and available to stream on NFL Plus. You got Rhett Lewis is going to be doing the play-by-play. Charles Davis is going to be the analyst. Daniel Jeremiah is going to be an analyst, and they're going to have Tom Pelissero on the sideline. Now, Rhett Davis, for those of you who don't know, he contributed a lot to Daniel Jeremiah's Move the Sticks podcast for a long time, him and Bucky Brooks there together. He would kind of fill in for Daniel Jeremiah when he was working the draft, things like that. Got a great sense of humor, great dude. It's going to be a good broadcast team. I love Charles Davis. Charles Davis, one of my favorite announcers. I want to say I don't know why he hasn't climbed up the ladder as one of the premier guys yet. But I think I know he's too damn nice, and he knows what he's talking about. He's not over the top, Tom Brady's Tom Brady. He's going to get the bag, right? We understand that. And I think Greg Olson's great as well. Don't get me wrong. But Charles Davis is one of the best in the business. Of course, Daniel Jeremiah is a draft expert, former NFL scout, played college ball at Appy State as a quarterback. He's probably, him and Greg Cosell are the 2 guys, Tim, that I trust the most when it comes to draft information, because there's not a whole lot of bias. There's not a whole lot of, Mel Kiper likes to kind of be in the limelight and be all flashy and get his.
Who is a Mel Kiper anyway?
Got to get that back. Don't let me forget that. Put that on the post-it note. But Daniel Jeremiah obviously took over for Mike Mayock when Mike Mayock went to be the GM for the Raiders. Daniel Jeremiah stepped into that lead draft analyst role for the NFL Network. He's done a hell of a job. And then, of course, Tom Pelissero is kind of the second in command from NFL Insiders, only behind Ian Rappaport at NFL.com. So, Tim, it's going to be a lot of fun. 2:30 Eastern time, so that's 1:30 Lambeau time Saturday. Make sure you clear your schedule. Hop in here, hang out with us as we talk a little ball and do a watch party. And it's going to be, like I said before, Tim, very unprofessional. We're going to be eating on camera. We're going to be just hanging out, man. So
get ready to go.
Go. And who knows, man? You'll probably see a couple future prospects for that team down there in Jacksonville.
Duval.
Yeah, those will be the guys going, when they get drafted.
Exactly right. So there you go. There's the information for the Senior Bowl. The Shrine Bowl, I just uncovered this, is going to be Thursday night, right? We talked about this. They're going to be kicking off about the time we go live for our Thursday night show. So we're going to have it on the screen. It's not going to be a full-blown watch party. We're going to be doing a show, but we'll kind of give you some information as we go through. The team there is going to be, I think that's what Mike, let me see if I can zoom in here and see his name. Mike Yam is going to be doing the play-by-play, okay? And this is going to be, again, 8 o'clock. This is on Thursday night, January 30th. Bucky Brooks, who is kind of Daniel Jeremiah's right-hand man with the Move the Sticks podcast, is going to be doing the analyst work there for that, along with Isaiah Stanback. And then they're going to have Jane Slater on the sideline. For those of you who don't know Jane Slater, I think she covers the Dallas Cowboys mostly. So she'll be the sideline reporter. So that's going to be a lot of fun there, man, for sure. So
yeah, Shrine Bowl is going to be awesome, man.
Yeah. Shrine Bowl is like, some people are going, what's the difference, Clayton? Because it's easy to get them mixed up if you don't follow the draft too closely. Like, I haven't followed that aspect of the draft very closely over the years. And I've started to dip my toe into it since doing the podcast. Think of the Shrine Bowl are kind of the underdogs, right, in the draft. The Senior Bowl seems to be the big dog. There's a lot of top 100 prospects in there, right? And that's going to be Saturday. Again, that's kind of the main event. Leading up to it here on Thursday with the Shrine Bowl, you got those guys that are a little bit more under the radar, right? And like Shedeur Sanders could be the top quarterback taken. Some people have him as the second quarterback. Some people have him as their number one. He'll be at the Shrine Bowl. Now, I think he's playing, to the best of my knowledge. Maybe we'll get access to that information here soon if someone can find us a link showing, hey, here's who's actually playing in the game. Because you get some that they don't want to risk being injured, but they want to go meet with the teams and kind of get their stock out there as well. So that's going to be a good time there too for the Shrine Bowl. Let's see what else we got here. There's a Legacy Bowl too, HBCU Legacy Bowl. That's going to be coming up February 22nd. We'll keep you guys up to date on that, obviously. I think that's right about the time that the Combine hits, if I remember correctly, Tim. So
Very cool.
There you go. There is your college all-star game festivities. All right. So Daniel Jeremiah put this tweet out earlier this morning. He said, this is an interesting draft class. The strength is in the middle class. All right. It says picks 20 through 60 are pretty much the same. All right. So again, each draft class is different every year. What I like to kind of keep an eye on is where's the strength of the draft class, both positionally and, is it top heavy? Is it back heavy? How's it sit? Daniel Jeremiah, former NFL scout, seems to be thinking 20 to 60 is the sweet spot. That's where there's just a ton of prospects and they're all kind of graded the same. Okay. Now, that doesn't mean there's not different tiers. It just means there's not a huge drop off from 60 to 61. And there's a significant drop off, right, from, from 20 to 21, if you will, or 19 to 20, I should say. So I put out a tweet and just said, the closer we get to the draft, it feels like the Packers could and probably should trade back in the first round, could potentially triple dip into the 40 prospect pool. The problem, fans will write if they trade completely out of the first round, obviously with the draft being in Green Bay. And I asked, how do you see it? And everybody's chiming in. It's a good, healthy conversation in there. But Tim, man, this is the stage is kind of set. And what I mean by triple dip, like as our draft picks are, let me get the banner up here real quick. Let's look at our draft picks. You got pick 23, right, which is in that sweet spot, right at the top of the sweet spot. Then you got pick 54. That's in the sweet spot. Then it's pick 87. So as it sits right now, you can only get two guys in there. What if you could trade out, not even out of the first round, but trade down in the first round and pick up a second two somehow, right, to put yourself in that same range to get, now it would take you giving some future compensation or, later compensation in this year's draft to kind of hit that sweet spot. I'm just wondering, why not trade back? If the same dude, and this is what Daniel Jeremiah is saying, it's not this cut and dry, but if the dude you take at 23 is the same as the dude you would take at, say, 60, or you would say 35, why not trade back, grab a little bit of draft capital, and still get a guy in that sweet spot? You know what I'm saying, Tim? Rather, it's either that or you're getting the pick of the litter in this 20 to 60 range, right?
Yeah, and Goody's going to do the right thing. I don't think Goody gives a damn if the fans are going to be upset. He's going to do what he's got to do. I could see that, right? You trade, down in the first, right? Go to, 29 or 30 or something, or you load up on second or third round picks. I trust Goody's going to do what's best for this franchise. And if he sees more value there in that tier, which I think, by the way, Daniel Jeremiah is probably spot on here. Picks 20 to 60 are like, kind of like that range that we're talking about. I could see Goody making a move. I really could. And just watching fans stand there and, have another Miller Lite while they wait for a draft pick,
Hey, it's going to be a good time regardless, man.
Yep.
To me, it amplifies the draft if you've got more picks too, Look
at this. We got my boy all the way from Iraq. He said, let Goody cook.
My man. Hey, appreciate your service, Tony, and you stay safe over there, buddy. Yeah, it's going to be fun, man, either way. If you trade back, you get more picks, right?
Yep.
If you stay put or you trade up, boy, could you imagine this scenario, Tim? We're sitting at 23 and we get to say pick 10 or 11, and they make the announcement right there at Lambeau Field in Green Bay. The Packers are on the clock. A trade has happened. The Packers are on the clock. That place is going to blow up, bro. Are you kidding me? So Randy Cleaver says, I'd rather have 3 picks in the top 60 instead of a first and a second. See, that's how I feel, Randy. That's kind of where I'm at right now. But again, there's positive in both scenarios. If you trade up, awesome, man. The energy is going to be through the roof. If you trade back, you get multiple picks and potentially, like Randy said, 3 in that sweet spot.
They could shock us and just take Jaden Higgins with our pick.
That's right, Tim. Which, by the way, we have the measurements there. He measured in at 6'3 3/4, I believe. Let me double check real quick. I won't put it on the screen. I'll just read it off to you.
So he's 6'4" with his spikes on. That's all. That's all.
6'3 3/4, and he was the second tallest receiver at the Senior Bowl, I believe is what this is. Let me double check. This might be the Shrine Bowl. No, it's the Senior Bowl. So at the Senior Bowl, he is the second tallest receiver at 6'3 3/4, 217 pounds. All right. So he's my man. I was trying to see his wingspan. Which number was his wingspan? So it's the very last one. Hand size, too. Let's check hand size and wingspan real quick and see where he ranks. Hand size, 9.5 inches. So pretty big hands. Looks like he's probably in the 3rd or 4th spot in that term. And then wingspan, he's 6'7 3/8 on wingspan. He definitely has the widest wingspan of any wide receiver at the Senior Bowl, Tim. So
let's go.
No block, no rock.
There you go. Mark 84 in the chat. Appreciate you swinging through. Said, was there ever a draft hosting team that traded out of the first round? I don't believe so. Of course, we've not been doing this for very long, right? But yeah, I don't think they've ever traded out. And I'm not necessarily saying trade out of the first round. I'm saying trade back to 27, 28. Like I was looking at Baltimore, like, hey, would they be willing to trade up? And it just depends. It all depends on how the other team's draft boards fall, right?
Yep.
Every team's draft boards are a little different, obviously. You see that every year. But, yeah, if a team's sitting there and they have a guy who's a 2 tier higher grade than where they're currently set to pick, and they're going, man, he's going to go any moment now, the value is good enough for us to trade up and get him, then let's say they traded up with the Packers 4 or 5 picks, and the Packers trade back there, and let's say they pick up an extra 4th round or extra 3rd round or whatever it is, then you got that extra draft collateral to try to trade back up within that top 60 spot. That's how the board works, and that's why the horizontal board is so important. You got these clusters of players at different positions, and then once they get to the point where, okay, you climb down, you got like 3 left. All right, man, if we get down to 2, we had a trade organized with this team 2 weeks ago. Get them on the phone. This is falling into place. All right, cool.
Yep.
You fall in, bang, you got that one guy, call him up. Hey, that trade we discussed, is that still on the table? Yeah, we'd love to trade back. All right, let's do it. And now you're on the clock to get one of those guys in that one of the final couple, 2-3 players in that current tier of top talent, according to your board, right?
That's why these mocks are so important. I mean, these teams are doing mocks. You think we were quick to do a mock, man. I bet you Goody's had more than a few that they've been running down. And it's like, it's training basically. You're prepping for every possible scenario. You and I talked about this offline the other day. Nobody's freestyling spur of the moment deals, during the draft. A lot of these were already mocked out, planned out. There were conversations to be had. And like you said, it's how the board falls on draft day for sure.
Yeah. Jason Y in the chat said that means we're trading up or trading down. It kind of feels like that, Jason. It's early. These things are going to get shuffled around. Our board's going to move a lot, obviously. But yeah, I'm with you, man. That's kind of what it feels like. And either way, I'd be good with. I'd rather them trade down, but trading up again, that the roof's going to come off that place at 1265, no doubt. All right, let's move it along here. Just want to kind of talk about how the draft is starting to fall into place. Another thing that he said, Daniel Jeremiah said, working on my initial top 50 prospect list, I have 16 defensive lines slotted in there. So, Tim, within the top 50, there are 16 defensive linemen. If the Packers want to go D-line, whether it's interior or edge, there's going to be plenty of options there. Now, let me give you an example. If there's 16 defensive linemen and we pick at 23, obviously all 16 are not going to come off the board before we pick at 23. That's just kind of a given with the overall value of the draft. Let's say that 5 of those 16 are left when we pick, right? That's a scenario where you go, man, okay, these 5 right here are the best. We like 2 of them better than the other 3, but they're all solid, worthy of this pick. Let's trade back 3 spots, 4 spots, whatever it is. If you had a trade structured in the weeks prior leading up to the draft, if you approach it that way, then you could trade back and feel really good knowing one of these 5 guys are going to be available. And then you might look up and one of the top 2, that were a tier higher than the other 3, but they were clustered together pretty close on the horizontal board. Hey, let's pull the trigger. Let's do it.
Might even be able to get Deion Walker there in the second round,
There you go. He was on the Walker train, no doubt, which, by the way, the measurables there, let me hit it real quick.
I saw that. You tweeted that the other day, right?
Yeah, we got the actual measurables up here now. Let me go to defensive line. So Deion Walker was hands down the tallest defensive lineman at 6'7.25". In terms of weight, he was the second heaviest at 340 pounds. Only Jamari Caldwell was 342, so he outweighed him by 2 pounds. He must have had an extra Krispy Kreme that day.
Thick.
He's only 6'2". Deion Walker 6'7". So keep that in mind. And wingspan, Deion Walker is 7'1.5" wingspan. That's just insane. That is crazy. So, Deion Walker is a physical beast. Now, listen, if his tape was stellar, Tim, this dude would be a top 3 pick because of that size, right?
Yep.
So some people are going, man, why are some people saying he might make it to the 2nd or 3rd round? The tape this year was down for sure. Last year, tape was up. This year, it was down. Think of Jaden Reed, though.
Yep.
Cody's not scared to go back a year and go, hey, we've seen what he can do. Let's get him right. And some people, many people like to look at the draft and they look at it like, well, what is a player good at? What is he bad at? The thing that I've noticed in coaches that I've talked to, and nobody at the NFL level, but people who study this and coach it at the college level, JUCO, high school, things like that, and just kind of picking people's brains, and then hearing Bill Belichick say this, it come out of his mouth after studying him for so long. Michael Lombardi reaffirmed that, talking about that's the way Belichick thinks. He said there was many times they were creating their draft board and they're putting grades and putting scouting reports together on these prospects. And it would be, but he can't do this, he can't do that, he can't do this. And they said Bill would get mad, throw his pen down and go, I don't care what he can't do. Tell me what he can do. What can he contribute to the team?
Yep.
What can he do? And let's make our decision based off what a player can do rather than his shortcomings. And that's it. I thought that was a really, really interesting way of looking at it, because you can pick a prospect apart. You can find some. It's the height's good, the weight's good, his hands are good, his speed's good. You know what, man? I don't like the size of his ankles. He looks like he's got weak ankles. All right, put a negative mark there. Next thing you know what I'm saying? Just whatever it may be, you can really outthink yourself in those scenarios, I think.
Definitely.
I'm not saying the negatives don't matter, Tim, but most coaches look at it like, I know Belichick anyway, and people from history is what can he do for the team?
Yep. Especially considering, after you're drafted, you can improve upon some of your negatives too. Some guys, they transition well to the league, and things that they didn't do well in college, they find a way to do well at the pro level. So I think it's really true. You should focus on, the positives and what a guy can bring to the table. You work on the rest.
Yeah. Definitely. Jake Shavik in the house. Senior Bowl week. Everyone get hot, man. We're fired up, Jake. Appreciate you swinging through, buddy. Holmes MD1. Is Walker a 3-tech? You can pull up the tape on Walker, and he played, he mostly played 1 and 3. There's a couple of times you can see him on the outside shoulder of the tackle. Some would say he was wide enough to call it a wide 9. I would call it more of a 5-tech. But, yeah, he was all over the defensive line, but at the NFL level, guys, he's going to be in the middle unless he can prove to be someone like a freak like Chris Jones. I don't expect that, but I think he's probably a 1 to 3 tech. Most likely teams will see him as a 1 because he can beat double teams. At least he did last year. If I can pull up his information here, I won't put it on the screen, but I'll give you his exact snap alignment last year. And again, he's only 20 years old, which is wild. So here's where he aligned. Let's go back to last year. Okay. 352 snaps in the 3-tech, 230 directly over the tackle, which means a 4 to a 5-tech. Okay. So most of his snaps 3, and then he went over tackle, a 4 to a 5-tech, 230 snaps. So you're seeing a 3 to 5-tech is essentially what you got there, and that's in 2023. Last year, however, he only had 99 snaps over the tackle. He played 247 in the B, which is the 3-tech, and he played 142 in the one tech, the A gap. You know what that says to me, Tim? Honestly, it kind of feels like the reason he took a dip in production is they asked him to kick to the one tech more often last year, and he was probably eating double teams much like Kenny was this year.
Makes
You know
sense.
what I'm saying? Yeah. Because, again, in 2023, his PFF grade was an 80.6. In 2024, it drops to a 71.2. And then when you comb through the snaps and the snap alignments, he went from playing 3-tech to playing nose, to playing 3 and – he went from playing 3-tech and 5-tech or 4-tech to playing nose, 0 to 1, little shade, to a solid 1, right? So that's interesting, man. That might be the answer we were looking for there, man.
That's what I'm saying. I'm trying to think of how he would fit in on our D line with our boys. I don't think they're going to have him playing a lot of nose, but we won't know unless we draft them, right? So hopefully they draft them.
And I love this too because every year there's a handful of players that we talk about a lot. Like last year, all year long, it was Tyler Nubin, right? Tyler Nubin was the kind of the talk. Tyler Nubin and Javon Bullard really kind of, and Katano Ladapo, of course, were the highlights for us, right? We talked linebacker a little bit. We talked about Edgerrin Cooper could be a freak, but he kind of only did it 1 year. There's a little question there. Now, obviously, he's the real deal. This year, you're seeing Deion Walker and you're also seeing Mike Green out of Marshall seem to kind of dominate a little bit. And people were talking about that Mike Green has the potential to be this year's Quinyon Mitchell at these All-Star games, right? So, like, he could potentially go in there and really improve his stock and solidify, hey, look, yeah, I know I played at Marshall, but I can hang with the big boys. That was the knock on Quinyon. And obviously you've seen Quinyon make a huge splash there in the game the other day. I would argue the only other person that made a bigger splash than Quinyon in that game is probably the refs. You know what I'm saying? So he did step up when they needed it the most, no doubt. All right, let's see. I think we're all caught up. We are. So there is just a little update, walk across Twitter. Tim, I want to try to get this in. Let me ask you this. Which would you rather do? We're at the 27-minute mark. Would you rather do the Senior Bowl sleepers, top 5 sleepers, the top 5 biggest takeaways from the weigh-ins, or do Daniel Jeremiah's mock draft 1.0 using the PFF mock draft simulator? Which
you already know what I'm going to say. Let's cue up that mock. Let's go.
I think this will be fun, man. I really do. So here's what we're going to do, guys, just to explain this, okay? Daniel Jeremiah put out an article, and in this article, it's basically his mock draft 1.0. So this is his very first mock draft of the year, all right? Now, what we're going to do is we're going to put on the screen, if I can get this to pull up here, we're going to put on the screen the mock draft simulator. And I'm trying to get my screen to where I can see all 3 in one here. That would be ideal. And we can still have it to where you guys can read. Everybody in the draft, mock. Let's go, mock. All right. So we're doing it. Let's see here. Let's go mock draft simulator. Bang. And I'm just going to read to you guys the picks, and then I'll make the picks. Does that make sense, Tim?
Yep.
All right, cool. So what we're going to do is we're going to do Daniel Jeremiah's mock draft. We're going to do 1 round. We got all the teams selected, okay? We're going to go ahead and enter the draft. And here's how this is going to work. I hope I don't screw it up. If I do, we'll just make it up with the next pick, so we ain't going to get too hung up on it. To give you guys a little preview of this mock draft, I've got a screen grab that we're going to hold on to, mock drafts by Daniel Jeremiah and other people that we have a lot of respect for on this sucky little show, right? There's his mock draft, okay? So Abdul Carter 1, Travis Hunter 2, Cam Ward 3, Will Campbell 4, Mason Graham 5, Shedeur Sanders 6, Tyler Warren 7, Tatero McMillan 8th, Mikael Williams 9th, Tyler Booker 10, Armand Mimbo 11, Ashton Jeanty 12, Kelvin Banks Jr. 13, Jahdae Brown 14, Will Johnson 15, Jalen Walker 16. Just to give you a quick glimpse, we've got that we can refer back to later. Let's do it in real time, Tim, and see how this shakes out. I think this is going to be a lot of fun, man. So let me get this on the screen where you guys can see it, and we're going to have to make all these picks, so I got to go kind of quick.
Get ready to go.
That's why I was asking, do you guys want to do it this way or not? Can you guys see that okay? Is that all right, Tim?
Yes.
All right, good deal. I'm trying to get it zoomed in a little bit more. All right, here we go. Let's start it. Starting the draft, we're picking with every team. All right, Titans are on the clock. Daniel Jeremiah had them take Abdul Carter, okay, edge defender out of Penn State. The number 2 pick, he had the Cleveland Browns take Travis Hunter, cornerback out of Colorado. All right, so there's your top 2 picks. Number 3, he had the New York Giants taking quarterback Cam Ward. All right. Now, here's what's cool. You're already seeing with the PFF board, you're reaching a little bit, right, to go get Cam Ward. People go, man, that seems like a reach, Clayton. He's down there a little lower, right? He's in the 17 spot, and they're picking third. We talk about this every year. Greg Cosell is the one who taught me this. There's 2 drafts every spring, and I say this every draft season. You've got the NFL draft and you got the quarterback draft. Typically, quarterbacks are considered one tier higher than other positions, right? It's that important.
Especially if you're the Giants.
Yeah, you better be putting a priority on quarterback. There's no doubt. So that's why you'll typically see quarterbacks ranked a little lower, but they're treated as if they're the best available because they see them as such a valuable commodity. They're going to go 1 or 2 tiers higher than the current tier of talent. So Cam Ward to the New York Giants at number 3 is what Daniel Jeremiah's got. All right, number 4, the New England Patriots. He's got them taking offensive tackle Will Campbell. So here's Will Campbell. He's the 8th best prospect on the board out of LSU. We'll send Will Campbell to the Patriots. Number 5 is the Jacksonville Jaguars. Hit me with that Duval.
Duval.
That weirdo right there made a hell of a pick. He went Mason Graham, defensive lineman out of Michigan. Boys, that's a solid pick, in my opinion. The fact that you're getting him there at that spot, to me, is pretty impressive. I think he will be the best defensive tackle coming off the board, and that's how I would build the Jacksonville Jaguars. You've already paid Trevor Lawrence all that money, right?
Yep.
Let's try to focus on positions of importance, right, in that tier 1 category. Left tackle, quarterback, you think you've already got your guy. Whether we agree or not, they think they've got their guy, right? So left tackle, 3 tech, defensive tackle, 3 to 1, whatever you want to call it, and then edge defender, right? I think they've got a decent edge defender they drafted. I can't remember his name now. It was Balky's dude that they took, Trayvon Walker maybe. So they feel like they've got a solid edge on the outside. Go get that 3 tech. So this makes all the sense in the world here. Mason Graham going to the Jacksonville Jaguars out of Michigan. Next, you got the Raiders. They're going to go with what the rumor said, Shedeur Sanders. Tim, look at this, man. Look where Shedeur is, according to PFF.
Wow.
This is the thing that really stood out to me because I have Shedeur Sanders significantly higher on our board. Now, I'm not going to take the time to pull our board up right now, but we have him significantly higher than PFF has him. Now, look at his average draft position per mocks, though, 4.3.
Right.
And they got him sitting in the 43 spot. So the Raiders are going to get their guy in Shedeur Sanders. You see how far they reach for a quarterback there, according to the PFF big board, right? So next up is the Jets. They're going to take Tyler Warren, tight end, out of Penn State. All right. So the Jets are going to go with Tyler Warren. Next is the Carolina Panthers. They're going to go with the first receiver off the board and at the top of the draft here in Tetaro McMillan out of Arizona. Okay. He's going to the Carolina Panthers. So they're going to get a guy that could potentially be a number 1 target there. Let's see. Next, you've got wrong screen. You've got Mikael Williams going to the Saints at number 9. Okay, Mikael Williams is an edge defender. Let's see where he's at. He's all the way down the 18 spot. So the PFF big board has Mike Green higher, James Pierce Jr. higher. You see what I'm saying, Tim? You're starting to see a couple players that are starting to fall a little bit, right?
Yep.
This might be that situation we're talking about when you get around the 10 mark. If the Packers could potentially trade up, you're looking at these guys that might be in their top tier of talent. Hey, this is worth it to go up, right? So
for sure.
Something to keep an eye on. So again, Mikael Williams, number 18, is going number 9 to the Saints. All right. Next is the Chicago Bears.
Get ready to go.
Let's hope they screw it up. Daniel Jeremiah's got him going guard Tyler Booker out of Georgia. So let's look for Tyler Booker out of Georgia. Wow. Is he really that far down?
Ooh.
Hold up a second. That can't be right. Did I overlook him? Let's just go interior offensive lineman. 65th.
Wow.
PFF has him in the 65 spot, and Daniel Jeremiah, former NFL scout, is saying Tyler Booker will go top 10. So I'm just telling you right now, if you're asking me to pick which one you trust the most, it's definitely Daniel Jeremiah over PFF. That's a big discrepancy right there, man. So let's hope that PFF's right and Daniel Jeremiah's wrong, and they just screw the pooch here, right? And Chicago, a horrible player. All right, up next is the San Francisco 49ers. They're going to go with Armand Mimbo, interior offensive lineman out of Missouri. So this kind of feels like it's going to be another another reach, right? I bet they got him listed as a tackle. They do. Okay. So PFF has him as a tackle. I think what Daniel Jeremiah is probably saying is he'll be playing interior offensive line. It says Mimbo is the most technically sound offensive lineman in the class. He reminds me of Elijah Vera Tucker, however you say the name. When he entered the league, Mimbo will be an exceptional guard who can also play tackle if needed. So there you're talking about versatility. So he's 21 on the big board here, according to PFF. San Francisco is going to take him at number 11. So there's another little twist there, right, Tim?
Yep.
So Dallas are going to get, I think, one of the steals of the draft here. Ashton Gianti, running back. I'm getting emotional over it.
Boise State.
This dude's a stud, man. You talking about a guy, he's in our top tier of talent on the entire board. On our board, and I don't see it changing unless he completely screws the pooch, like at the combine or something. I don't see Ashton Gianti falling out of our top tier of talent. So
here's the guy.
It kind of feels like the Bijan Robinson of this year's draft. You know what I'm saying, Tim?
Yeah,
it really does.
Yep.
So Dallas is going to go get a running back to put with their expensive quarterback there in Dak Prescott for the new coaching staff. Coming in there for who was it? Was it Schottenheimer that got that head coaching job?
That's correct. Yep.
All right. At least they didn't get that cat Duval, man. Liam Cohen was at Kentucky for a little bit. I never seen him act like that, man. If he'd acted like that at Kentucky, I think I'd have just burned my damn jerseys. You know what I mean?
Duval.
At least it's not that guy. Anyway, Dallas is going to take Ashton Gianti out of Boise State. Up next is the Miami Dolphins. They're going to go offensive tackle Kelvin Banks Jr. So let's just skip straight to the point here. PFF has him listed as the second best offensive tackle on the board, right? And this is the Colts. No, this is the Dolphins picking. Okay. So Kelvin Banks Jr., they're going to bypass Josh Simmons, and they're going to go to Kelvin Banks Jr. out of Texas. All right. And I was trying to see here. Daniel Jeremiah said nothing is more important for the Dolphins than protecting Tua Tagovailoa. Banks can do that at tackle or guard. So it sounds like there's some versatility there as well. Next, you got the Colts on the clock, and they're going to go with cornerback Jahdae Brown. That's a person that we've mentioned quite a bit, that we've looked into. He's on our short list of corners that we like early in the draft. He's out of Texas. He's sitting in the 28th spot. His average draft position, according to the mock draft database here within PFF, is 27.2. So this seems like a bit of a reach for PFF. However, Daniel Jeremiah says Jahdae Brown to the Colts there with pick 14. All right, next you got the Falcons. Will Johnson, cornerback out of Michigan. This looks like a great pick for the Falcons too. Sitting in the 6th spot on PFF's overall prospect ranking. You getting him at 15, and it's a need for the Falcons. Maybe not the top need, but a solid need. This is a nice pick here for the Falcons.
Yep, another corner off the board. Positional need for us too, but certainly not in the early rounds.
Yeah, and Daniel Jeremiah says Will Johnson is a polarizing player around the league. He provides size and production, but some questions emerged about his tackling and top speed in 2024. Make a note of that. Will Johnson's 40-yard dash probably going to play a big role in whether or not he solidifies himself as a top prospect or drops a little bit on the board. So keep that in mind. Up next, we got the Arizona Cardinals. They're going to go linebacker Jalen Walker from Georgia. So where is Jalen Walker on this list, Tim? He's pretty far down. So they've got 51 spot, and they've got the Cardinals taking him at 16. This feels like the Quay Walker pick. Does it not?
Yep.
And I remember
another linebacker from Georgia, another Walker. I love it.
And he's, it says he's a bit undersized as an edge rusher, but he offers an intriguing mix of length, explosiveness, and playmaking ability. That's what we talked about Quay. Some people were going, can he play like Micah? Can he rush the quarterback? He's an athletic freak, right? All those things. Quay may be a little bit undersized, a little light in weight to be an edge rusher, but he can kind of play in the middle. I don't know, man. This feels just like it. And I also remember Quay, if I remember correctly, and you guys correct me in the chat if I'm wrong, he was outside of the first round in most mocks and most databases. Yep. But the week leading up, man, he built up all kinds of steam. There was all kinds of rumors. This dude's skyrocketing up draft boards. So that's kind of interesting, a little parallel there from another Georgia linebacker. Sitting in the 51 spot, the Cardinals are going to take him at 16. Up next on the clock is the Cincinnati Bengals. They're going to take my boy Walter Nolan. Now, listen, he's significantly lower here, if I remember correctly. Walter Nolan, if we look for him, there's Trey Amos, his teammate. Walter Nolan's sitting in the 36th spot, and the Bengals are going to take him at 17. You guys remember he's a little bit higher on our board, right? So it's obvious Daniel Jeremiah kind of agrees with that assessment. They're going to pick him 17th there to the Bengals. So Walter Nolan is now off the board. Number 18, you got Kenneth Grant.